Om Shanti. Welcome to today's episode of Masters of Change. Change, just like sunshine, can be a blessing or a curse, a friend or a foe, a dawn or a dusk. It just depends on how it is placed in our head. To set the right kind of perspective and to keep a positive outlook towards change, to help us do that, today we have with us Sister Maureen from New Zealand, born in New Zealand. Welcome, Sister.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
How are you doing?
Good. I'm very happy to be in our spiritual headquarters and meeting you for the first time.
It is a pleasure. And why don't you take us through our journey? How did spirituality hit you, and at what age did you think that there was a need of spirituality in your life?
Okay, so as you mentioned, I was born in New Zealand. When I was about 23, and I'd had a broken romance, and I was feeling a bit sort of lost. I thought to myself I might go to Australia, because from New Zealand it's just a 2-hour flight, and a lot of my friends were there, so I thought I'd go and join them. And when I joined them, I thought, well, I might change my lifestyle a little bit. So I was always like physically active. I played a lot of sport when I was young. And I decided I would not drink any more alcohol, not take any more drugs, and just exercise a bit more, do a lot of running and things like that, and just generally become healthier.
Yeah.
I didn't change my diet though.
Okay.
But I tried to do everything else. But that only lasted for about 6 months. I arrived in Australia. I started off in Brisbane. And I met up with my friends, but they hadn't changed their lifestyle. So after 6 months, I was doing the same thing again.
Yeah.
And then a few years later, about 3 years later, I met someone who I eventually married. And I didn't actually fall in love, as they say. I liked him because we were really good friends. And I thought I could spend my life with this person.
Yeah.
So we got married.
Yeah.
And then after about 3 months of marriage, I thought, oh, this is not what I really want. I thought it would make me happy, but I wasn't really that happy. I still felt there's something more, a bit empty. And interesting, when I was having those thoughts, a friend of ours, he dropped in to see us. Well, he's actually more a friend of my husband's. And he said to us, why don't you try meditation? And I said to my husband, why don't you go first?
Yeah.
And so he did. And he went and thought there was a 7-day course at that time. So he went and did the first 2 lessons of the course. And from the first night when he came home, he was different. And on the second night, he looked like he had stars in his eyes.
Oh.
And I said to him, what happened to you? And he said, I just felt like I was outside my body for a while. And I said, do you like doing this? And he said, yeah, this is really good. So he finished the course. And one reason I didn't do it with him, because at that time I'd actually taken up competition squash. And we always played in the evening. And He was doing the course in the evening, so I couldn't go.
Correct.
Because I had to go either be training or be playing.
Yeah.
So, and after 7 days, he actually started to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And I said to him, what are you doing getting up at this time?
Yeah.
And he says, it's the best time to meditate. And I thought, well, it must be good if I can get him out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was a little bit lazy.
Okay.
So I said, why don't you see if you can book me in to do this course? So when he went back to the centre, he asked them, and they said I could do it on a Saturday morning.
Okay.
So I went there on a Saturday morning, and I saw the name on the door, and it said Raja Yoga Meditation.
Correct.
And I looked at him, I said, why are you bringing me here? I don't want to do any yoga. I already do enough exercise.
Yeah. You thought it would be more of a physical thing.
I thought it was more physical. Yeah. And he said, no, it's not like that. And anyway, then the door opened and there was these 2 Australian brothers at the door, dressed in their white. And honestly, they looked really so nice. just nice people. Haven't seen nice people for a while. And they said, no, come in. And so I went in, and then they separated us. I thought he would do the course with me, but they took him into the other room and took me into another room.
Yeah.
And I actually did the course by myself with this one brother. But it was probably the best thing, because then I could ask all the questions I wanted to do. And it was so enlightening. But I think the best thing was that when I was young, I was brought up as a Catholic. And I stopped going to the church when I was 13 because I didn't see God anywhere. You know, not the God that they were talking about and the prayers and everything.
You didn't feel the energy there.
I couldn't see in their behaviour either, especially the priests, because the priest used to come to our house and drink with my father. So that was no example for me.
Correct.
Yeah. So I said, Kerry, I really like this because now I feel like I can have this connection with God.
You said to your husband?
Yeah. So that we kept coming back.
Oh, nice.
And so they talk here about how people come instantly. And so as soon as I finished the course, we started to go to the morning class that the Brahma Kumaris have every morning. And then we started to go to meditation every evening. And we didn't have any children, we didn't have a house, we didn't have any burdens. So we were quite free.
Nice.
Yeah, so...
How did your relationship change? Did it change after that?
It changed a lot because I'm not sure if everyone's aware, but we follow celibacy. But because of that, we became more friends. And I got to know things about him that probably I never would have known before, because we sat and actually talked to each other.
It brought you two more closer because of following celibacy?
It did actually, because I guess when there's that kind of relationship with people, you're always worried about how they'll think of you, what they want from you, what you have to give them, how you're supposed to look.
You don't have to please them anymore.
No, you didn't. That's what I really liked. So we were just good friends, and all that tension was gone.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, you both used to stay together, I am sure. Was it difficult to bring in that change, or was it easy for you both?
It was probably pretty easy for me.
Okay.
But it was a little bit harder for him.
Yeah.
And so we actually stayed with this meditation together. And after 9 months, we came to our first visit to our headquarters in India, and I think they call it Pandava Bhavan. And it was there that he said to me that he wanted to do something for humanity. So he wanted to move into a centre.
Oh.
So I said, that's good, you can do that.
That was after 9 months of getting introduced to Raj Yoga?
Yeah, after 9 months. So what happened was the senior teacher at the time who was looking after Australia, who's now looking after our headquarters, Gyan Sarovar, Dr. Nirmala Kajaria, she said he went to visit her and said he would be interested in looking after a centre, because at that time, this was 1983, the centres were just really starting to open in Australia. We only had 3 centres at that time. So one in Sydney, one in Melbourne, one in Brisbane.
Yeah.
And 2 small places, one in Canberra, one in Hobart.
Correct.
And so what happened was they wanted to open more centres.
Right.
Yeah, so especially in Sydney, because it's such a big place.
How many centres are there today?
In Sydney, there's 1 main centre, but there's probably about 12 GTPLs, and there's 2 retreat centres.
Just in Sydney?
Just in Sydney.
Oh.
Yeah, not counting Melbourne. That's even bigger today.
Correct.
But at that time we were both in Brisbane, and the centre there was just a house, and the meditation room was just a garage.
Yeah.
But eventually we had to leave that because it flooded too many times. When it rained really heavily in Brisbane, it used to flood.
Right.
Yeah, so they had to move that centre.
How was your experience like? You said that you stopped going to church at the age of 13. And did you stop believing in God as well?
No.
No, never.
No, but I remember the last day I went to church, and like the Catholic vision of God is always looking at Jesus on the cross. And it was always like so sorrowful. So the last day I went to church, I looked at that and I said, well, if you want me, you have to find me, because I'm not coming back. And so I felt like eventually I got found.
Can you share some experiences that you had when you started to meditate of God? Any experiences that you had in the beginning that you still remember?
Okay, my first meditation experience was on the 7th day of the course.
Last day?
Yeah, the last day. And by then, I had been vegetarian for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And obviously we were celibate for that time. And I just generally, no alcohol, nothing, no like impure, was for that 2 weeks wasn't there. And so when we're having that last meditation, I just felt this feeling of just being pulled into this deep silence. Like I've never felt anything like it before. And then I felt like there was all this electricity. Like, it's hard to explain, but I felt like it was all this power running through me. And it was so silent. And I just sat there, I didn't want to move. And then eventually, at the end of the meditation, of course, they asked me, how are you? And by then I had tears coming down my face, but I didn't want to stop the silence. I just said, I'm okay. And on the way home, Kerry my husband was trying to talk to me, and I'm just saying, I don't want to talk now. I just want to hold it. And it was then that I realised that this relationship with God's a bit different. This is a relationship, it's not of chatting, it's not of being friends or anything. It's about taking power and being quiet. And I really embraced that.
How long back was it?
So 40 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's enough I still remember it. And even when I'm talking to you now, I can still feel it.
Correct.
Yeah.
So in 40 years, how has it changed? Has it become better?
It probably isn't as strong, but I have had other moments where it's been just as deep and just as powerful. But you have to work for those moments.
Correct.
Yeah.
During this time, was there any time when you went back to your old habits, your old diet? Did you feel like giving up the changes that you made after coming on this journey?
No, not at all. It was kind of like instant. Actually, I do remember, because we weren't vegetarian, we had a freezer full of like meat products.
Correct.
And I said to Kerry, we'll finish these off, then we'll be vegetarian. But I pulled one out and I looked at it and I couldn't. I said, I can't cook this.
You didn't feel like
that was it. Yeah, never again.
So why is it so important to follow this strictly veg diet and celibacy to reach a certain growth in spirituality? Why can't it go together hand in hand? Yeah,
well, a lot of this knowledge that we study, it's very deep, and a lot of things are very subtle. Just as if there was a dead body in the room, people are very aware of the vibrations of that dead body, and so in most traditions, they don't eat, they don't do this, etc. Am I right? I think today even there's someone who has died, and so they're not going to cook until that body is cremated. So the importance of doing these things, of being vegetarian and no alcohol, etc., is because it's very subtle, the vibrations that they bring. actually to the soul, to you the soul, or me the soul. We're not really aware that, this world doesn't run on the physical, it runs on the spiritual, and there's a lot of things we don't feel, but they're definitely there.
Yeah, very rightly said.
Yeah.
So it's been 40 years, and so did your husband start any center over there? Like he was looking to run any center. So did you both did any service, like opening up centers? If you can share that.
Okay, so my husband did move into the centre.
Yeah.
And then when I went to meet Dr. Nirmala, she said to me, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "Oh, that's okay. I can just move into a flat by myself. I'll be okay."
Yeah.
And she says, "Oh, no. She said, "Oh, no. She said, "You can go to Geelong or Hobart." So she gave me a choice of two places I could go to. She wanted the brothers who were looking after the centre in Hobart to come back to the mainland because they had some experience, and they wanted to open a place in Geelong.
Okay.
So I said, "Oh, I'll go to Geelong because it snows in Hobart."
Yeah.
And I'd been in Brisbane and it's like 28 degrees every day. It's a lovely climate.
Okay.
And so I thought, I don't think I could cope with the cold.
So how was that experience when you moved there, and what kind of people used to come in the beginning, and what did they expect when they used to come?
So at that time, there was a little bit of a spiritual awakening in Australia.
Yeah.
It wasn't just us who woke up, there was a lot of people. So when I got to Geelong and moved into the centre, the sister who looked after the centre there, she was a nurse, so she did shift work. And here am I, barely 1 year in this knowledge. So I was left basically to do all the courses. And the very first course I took, 19 people came. So that's to give you an idea of the interest,
Correct.
I mean, Australia is not a big population.
Yeah.
At that time it was only 14 million.
Correct.
Yeah, but the interest was there.
Yeah.
And that was generally what happened. Every month we would do a new course, and that's how many people would come. And what had happened too is one of the brothers who was in the main centre in Melbourne, he had written to all the organisations, spiritual and educational, to say that if anyone wanted to learn meditation, we could come out and give a free talk. So we got all these invitations to go to all these organisations just to introduce meditation. Yeah. At that time, we weren't doing positive thinking, but just the concept of meditation.
Yeah. And now it has grown. The interest has grown since that time. And what do you think that still needs to be there, like which is not there in the crowd? What do you think that is the need of the hour that people should really focus on these days?
So the need of the hour, I feel people should be thinking about what they need spiritually, because a long time ago I read these books. They were by someone and they had all been regressed, meaning they'd been hypnotised, and asked why they chose to be born in the 21st century. And he only did about 2,000 people, but they all said they chose to come for the spiritual awakening. And I see it happening in front of my eyes, actually, that as we start losing our control over the environment, money, food, etc., that we're going to need something to hold on to. Otherwise, it will be totally lost. So that's why I think it's really important. We need something for the inside, not just the outside.
When was the first time you came to India, to the headquarters of the organization?
When was it?
Yeah.
I came December the 31st, 1983.
I remember the date as well.
Yeah, because it was on the cusp of coming into 1984.
Correct.
Which, if you remember, in India was the year that Indira Gandhi got shot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was a big drama in India, and you could see how own people turn on your own people.
Yeah.
And thought, this is not human nature.
Correct. So if you can share more about that experience of the first time you came to India, and at that time only only Pandav Bhavan was there, if I'm not wrong. So what was the experience like, and did you meet any of the seniors here, and was there any experience that you felt that was not there, which you hadn't felt before?
Okay, so before we came, we had met Daddy Prakashmani. She had come on a tour, and Jagdish Bhai, brother Jagdish, who's also not around anymore.
Yeah.
And so when I arrived, I kind of knew what senior teacher meant.
Yeah.
But what I didn't, or wasn't really prepared for, was to see everything that we learned come alive. You know, just from arriving in India and just seeing all the temples and seeing all the devotion and the love for God, actually, which is not in our society. It's a lip service on a Sunday, but it's definitely not an everyday thing. And to see that and then come to the university, and the thing that struck me was the eyes, the smiling eyes. Yeah. And I thought, you don't see eyes like this in the West. Everyone's like so lost. But these eyes were alive.
And there must have been a group that you both would have had in terms of friends and family. Did they see the change when you both started to meditate? Did they see a change, and how did they respond to it?
My parents lived in New Zealand, so I didn't have too much to do with them because I'd moved to Australia. But my husband's friends and his parents weren't very happy because they were wanting the grandchildren. And but prior to that, and I didn't mention this, that my father-in-law was always telling us off because we gambled, we drank, you know, and we sort of partied a lot. And he was saying to us, when are you going to settle down, save some money? And then when we both decided to split and move into different centres, he was really upset. And so I threw that back at him. Now I realise how disrespectful it was, but I just said to him, look, you told us to give up alcohol and settle down, stop living this party lifestyle. I said, so we are. You should be happy. And he wanted grandkids, but I said, you've already got so many. He already had about 8. You don't need any more. And so, but he was never really, really happy with that. But
just because of that. Did he see any other change that he was happy of?
More my mother-in-law was happy because she liked the fact that I stayed friends with her. Because I lived there, I mean, I was the one who kind of took her shopping and took her to the hairdresser, and I still did that. And so she was happy to still have a friend, but he was very unhappy. And all our friends, they couldn't understand it. You know.
Not many.
No, but 4 of them did the course, and 2 of them, they started to actually study them merely for a few weeks, but then they got pulled away, you know, just by, I guess, peer group pressure.
Only the spiritual wisdom that comes in daily.
So, Merle's our morning class,
And why don't you share some experiences of some people who came to the center for the first time and they did the course, and then they must have shared some experiences from their work life. How did their work life change back at their work? How did being spiritual and how did meditation help them with their work?
Okay, so this was a little case in Melbourne. A lot of, actually, this was an Indian national. He was working in IT, and he never really had a teamwork before. In the West, they work a lot in teams. And he was working in this team, and anyway, someone else presented his idea, and he got really upset. So he'd just finished the course, and I said to him, look, you know, one of our practices is we've got to conquer the vices, and the fact that you're upset means there's a little bit of ego there. If someone's presenting your idea, this is the idea of a team, that you all work together. It's an idea put into the pool. It's not your idea. So if you have this practice of letting go, it won't be so hard for you. But anyway, so he said, okay, I'll try it. So apparently he came back the next week and he said, you know, you don't realise how much you helped me. He said, I just let go. He said, and then they asked me to present. And he said...
They asked him to present?
They asked him to present, yes, the next time. So he said, I felt really good that I worked it through. Yeah. And he said, I was not prepared for it at all.
Correct.
So there was that little instant that helped him. But mainly people who take it into their workplace, they just have better relationships.
Correct.
And one lady just recently said to me that she didn't realise how much negativity she was listening to all day. And one day she went to work happy and they said to her, have you been taking some pill? Because she was happy for a change. And she said, I never realised what a negative atmosphere I was working in. So she said, this is going to be hard work for me to make them see something positive.
Yeah, it is so beautiful then that when you think of something, when you are having an emotion, a negative emotion such as hurt or guilt, the vibes you are putting in that environment, those will come back even more, wasn't it? If you're putting in, like you said, that he was putting in the feeling of hurt that his project got stolen. And as soon as he let it go, so he received the good news that he had to present it. So how important are our thoughts and what we are feeling and what we are putting out in the atmosphere?
It's very important. As I mentioned before, a lot of things are subtle. We're not aware that every negative thought we have about someone or something, it sits in the atmosphere and people get influenced by it. Yeah.
Just because we don't see it, we don't realize that we are doing that.
No. I mean, if we go to a football game or we go to a tennis match or we go to a church or we go to a temple or we go to a theatre, there's different rules for these places. So if you go to a theatre, you have to be quiet. And so that's in the atmosphere. It's an unspoken thing, isn't it?
Correct.
Quiet. So our negativity is like that. It's unspoken, but it's in the atmosphere.
Correct.
And if it's in our home, it permeates the home. And that's why it's so important that the parents are positive, because it has such an influence on the children.
Correct.
And, you know, and the children are the future. And if that's...
We need to set an example in front of them by being what we want our children to be. So first we have to be that, and then only can we expect our children to be the same. Since you were into sports yourself, you were an athlete, you used to take part in a lot of sports. What advice do you have for sports persons? Because most of them think that meditation and spirituality would somewhat reduce the aggression that they have, that they need in sports, and it will make them calm, so that it might be a negative thing for them. Coaches think that as well. So is that true, and what would your advice be?
Well, that's very interesting. You should ask that, because if you talk to all these individual tennis players, they have a coach who teaches them positive thinking and how to focus, how to concentrate. So meditation does the same thing. We need someone to coach us how to think positively, you know, how to calm down, not let your emotions take over. And because I've watched tennis a lot, you can see, can't you, when you watch them, a lot of them go like this. Because their thoughts have let them down. They've got angry or they've got upset, and so they lose, and they go like this.
So the better equipped they are with calmness, the better their game would be.
But I think with a team, the team would have to be working together. Sometimes it's very hard for one person to hold a whole team, but individual sport, meditation's great. And if we've got a whole team doing it, you know what, a team would be, even better. It's more powerful.
Correct. Well, thank you so much. The time permits us to have only this much conversation. Otherwise, I would have loved to continue. But I'm sure that it was lovely. I am taking so much things. I'm sure the viewers would have been taking a few things as well from this conversation. Thank you for taking our time.
Thank you for having me.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.